me on, so they left.
There we go. Is it time? Yes, Brylang, it's time. Could he have... please start the broadcast. I've started the broadcast. Would like to select Q&A, but I cannot because it says I haven't started the broadcast. But here we are broadcasting.
Q&A is over here. There we go.
Okay. I'll hit the music. Wits End, you give an intro.
Okay.
And do you want me to point to you? Can you hear the music well enough?
I heard it when you tested it, so we'll see.
So I'm going to hit record, and here we go.
Oh, it's that time, isn't it? It's Thursday night, 9 o'clock, and you know the music means it's time to go caching here in the Northwest. You know, this is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest, and I will talk about caches and cashiers unique to this little corner of the country. So go grab a Happy Meal just for the toy. Time to go caching in the Northwest.
And we can't go caching in the Northwest until we bring in our fine feathered friend. Some say he's chicken, and others say he's just simply fowl. All we know is he's called Limax.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
It's really good to have you and see you there.
Well,
Just a Q&A.
Well, you can see half of me at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Wits End, you look like you're in a different location than normal.
Different backdrop, yes?
Yeah. Three Hams wants to know if you're in a storage unit.
Almost, yeah. I was going to tip my phone here and say it's time to go caching in the Northwest.
See, we have logos and everything. We spent money on graphics.
Yes, you may notice a slight change in my venue. I'm no longer. Last week I came to you briefly from Mexico, and tonight I'm back in the Northwest. But sadly, I've got to work tonight. I'm just going on shift, but I had a few minutes to say hey, and you know, back in Tacoma, and more specifically, you may notice or may recognize this behind me as, well, it's the Tacoma Dome. We're doing a video job here tomorrow morning. It'll be the University of Washington Tacoma graduation ceremony, and we're setting up gear tonight. And so I'm getting ready to go to work. Worked all day with the bad cop, now I'm going to work all night at the Tacoma Dome. So I will bid you all a fond farewell. Have a fantastic podcast, and I should be back in the normal studio tomorrow, next week. How about that?
Something just crashed behind you, and that's probably something you have to go fix.
Yeah, no, there's a forklift dragging pallets of chairs in and out, so it's noisy, but it's all good.
Well, good. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it, and we'll give a little detail about the Tacoma Dome.
There you go. You talk about it. I got to go.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
So the Tacoma Dome, if you didn't know, is obviously located in Tacoma, Washington. It is the largest all-wood constructed dome, I'm going to say, in the world. And because I'm on the show right now, that's fact. It was made from the wood that was the lumber that was knocked down when Mount St. Helens erupted. So they had all this extra lumber. They built the Tacoma Dome. So it's, you know, it holds a special place in the heart of the people here in Washington State.
That's the eruption back in 1981.
I want to say 1980, but yeah.
So 80? Oh, yeah,
80, 81. 80. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been 1980, come to think of it, right. I remember where I was at the time.
I was in Ohio. I wasn't in the Northwest at the time. I remember looking up in the sky, and there was this large dark streak as the ash had get caught into the jet stream and was pulled across the country.
Well, I was probably about 3 miles, maybe 2 or 3 miles from where I'm currently am myself.
Okay.
I actually had a teacher who wanted to sell Mount St. Helens ash, wanted me to get to sell Mount St. Helens ash at school, you know, in those little tiny bottles.
Mm-hmm. There was more than that. Our research department, there's more than that up here. We didn't get any in Ohio. The research department has said the Superior Dome, which opened as the world's largest wooden dome on September 14th, 1991, is a dome stadium on the campus of Northern Michigan University in Marquette, Michigan. So it's 14 stories tall, has a diameter of 560 or 36 feet, covers an area of 5.1 acres. But since it's not in the Northwest, it doesn't count.
Although
I
it is
added
a
that last
geodesic
part.
dome.
Huh? It is
a geodesic dome. That might, yeah.
See, it's not a round dome. Those are, well, anyway.
There may be icosahedrons.
Ooh, I think got to be bigger than that, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So we are a completely monkey-free dome, says or monkey-free zone. Sorry, says B Pendragon, because Die Monkey isn't watching with them tonight. So no monkeys tonight. Now,
yeah, I don't. Nope, that's a moose. I've got dog toys right next to me.
All the same thing. Well, Bry Lang, thank you. The Tacoma Dome is 530 feet in diameter and 152 feet tall, and able to seat 23,000. And it's the largest arena with a wooden dome in the world when measured by volume.
Perfect.
There you go. So the Superior Dome is 6 feet bigger in diameter than this one.
Yes, but it seems like the Tacoma Dome really is superior.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. With a wooden dome. Okay, there you go. Before we jump into our topic tonight, we want to thank our Denali level supporters. That's Limax and the Mount Vernon Parks and Recs Department. And if you want to know more about supporting the show, click on the Patreon link on the boy, I did it again. On the CachingNW.com website. Now, tonight we're going to talk about swag, stuff we all got. But before we get going, let's get glowing. And we like to call this segment Glow, or the geocache log of the week. So whether it's yours or not, maybe you read about it while looking for a difficult cache. Maybe you're doing a little research on challenge caching. You came and you read a great log. Send that to us. The easiest way is to send it to email at feedback@cachingnw.com. You can always call in to our voicemail line at 253-693-TFTC, or you can use the voicemail tool on the website and show us how you glow. Now, this week, oddly enough, this is, you may say coincidence, you may say it's rigged. We're reading one of Limax's The Machine series. How many of these caches did you find?
Trying to think. I think it was let me see. I think I sent you a total of 10 logs.
Seems
so
I
think I found 9 then. So that means it would have been 9 in the series, since one of them was a DNF log.
I was going to say, we read your one DNF log. And a DNF log can be just as good as a found it log. I just want to throw that out there. There's nothing wrong with a DNF log. But Limax, would you kick us off? This is a long one, so we'll break it up a little bit.
Oh, certainly. I'll kick it off. So I found The Machine, Journey to Nowhere. Rather than waiting for the machine to interrupt my sleep again, I decided to go out and seek it this time. I didn't have a long ways to go from where it had contacted me last, and I found a shortcut to where it was hiding. I snuck up on its hiding spot and was just about to spring when it leapt at me and attached itself to me. Crying out, I tried to reach around behind me and grab it, but it was no good. Seeing as I couldn't reach it, I tried to back up into a tree and knock it off that way. Right before I was going to be free of it, I felt a shock and my body went rigid. My worst fears had come true. The machine was now in control of me. I could hear its malevolent laughter as it walked me out of the place it was hiding and onto the trail. It then started me walking down the trail.
He goes on to say, I saw several people out today using the trail. I cried out to them for help, but the machine also had control of my vocal cords. Every time I would make eye contact with someone else, they would always look away and give me a wide berth. I wasn't sure where the machine was leading me, but it looks like I wasn't going to get any help from anyone. After walking for a while, I really wasn't sure how long, the machine led me to a busy street and tried to force me out on it. I'd had enough and was able to resist it. I finally gave up and walked me parallel to the street. As it was walking me, it kept forcing me into trees along the way, which seemed to reach out and try to stick more branches up my nose. Somewhere along the way, I must have passed out because the next thing I knew, I was back where I was started, lying on the ground where it had first attacked me. I didn't feel like it was on me anymore, but I could still hear the machine's soft, malevolent laughter. I noted a piece of paper at my feet, which turned out to be the log. I signed it and got quickly out of there. I have a feeling that I may be in big trouble, and the next encounter with the machine may lead to even further difficulties for me. That you've got a gift there.
Thank you.
Those are always fun.
As I was telling you earlier, I had a lot of fun finding every cache in that series. They were all gadget caches except one, I think. And I know that's the one is coming up here very soon in that batch, in the batch I sent you. But they unfortunately all of them except one are archived now. But they were such a great series.
Nice. They're fun logs to read.
I appreciate that.
And it is an honor to hear the log in your own voice tonight.
I knew you were going to figure out how to do that to me someday.
Yeah, we got you. Well, we have more feedback, this time from IHAM, who starts off and says, "Gentlemen and gentle monkeys. I've noticed at the Go section of the Tacoma News Tribune on Fridays, there's a column called Trail of the Week, which outlines a hike somewhere in the area. In the online version, the article is often a video of the hike as well." And he gives an example. I'll link to that in the show notes so you all can watch it. I never knew of Muir Hut Falls. It's about 2.5 hours from me. It goes out more towards the peninsula to the west, and it looks like an absolutely beautiful hike. Pretty much a level hike, passing several falls. IHAM goes on to say, the article gives a trail difficulty rating, round trip distance, elevation gain, parking pass information, and then in the also section at the end of the article, it mentions if there's any geocaches along the trails and refers the reader to geocaching.com.
Nice.
In the example listed above, it states an earth cache is located near Muir Hut Falls, that other geocaches are located along the trail and in the area. For more information, visit geocaching.com. So that's really nice. He finishes by saying, as always, we appreciate the effort you put in the show each and every week. Thanks, IHAM.
That actually sounds like a really neat one. I like hikes to waterfalls. I mean, last couple of years around here, waterfalls have not really been a thing. But I always enjoy trying to find some new place with some waterfalls I've not seen before.
You follow the dry riverbeds to the cliff?
Yeah, I've actually done that. Believe it or not, I did that in Idaho back when I was in college. There's in the Owyhees in southwestern Idaho, there's a kind of a local spot that most of the locals know about called Jump Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a magnificent waterfall there. Well, we were camping out there one night, and a friend of mine went off and hiked, and we were off doing stuff, and then trying to get back, we didn't know exactly where the camp was. So we decided to follow a dry riverbed, and we came up on it. We realized we were at the top of a waterfall, which is probably a good 20 to 30 feet down from there. And so we had to actually find another way around because, of course, there's no way we could go over
Wow.
the falls at all. But
Oh, there was a way.
oh yeah, but we wanted to be uninjured.
Oh, okay. You guys are picky when you're out walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I want to mention it's just this weekend. So if you're listening live and you're in Washington State, head to Miller Sylvania Park on June 11th from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and participate in the National Get Outdoors Day, the Outdoor Expo. Join our wonderful partners who let you try out a new activity, provide tips on great places to recreate, and share their passion for protecting and restoring places so everyone can access and enjoy the outdoors. We'll be offering raffle prizes, demos, kids activities, and we'll be treated to outdoors NorthWest to camp cooking tastings. Camp cooking tastings. So Outdoors NorthWest is a company, by the way. And they'll offer sports drinks. It's all free, fun, refreshing, and yummy too. No Discover Pass needed to access the park, and all the events are free to join the public. So join us in getting outside at Miller Sylvania State Park. Miller Sylvania is actually an interesting state park. It's a little south of here, about middle of the state. But this weekend is the National Get Outdoors Day weekend. And, well, hello, Tom.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going well. And so go ahead and jump into the Get Outdoors Day. Go find a cache this weekend. I believe only on Saturday. You get a souvenir for it. So can't really beat that, right? Let's see.
I just showed up, so I don't know.
Well, we've started the show, so
Yeah.
IHAM says, I saw one of the Trail of the Week articles that actually said there were no geocaches listed along this trail. So they do mention them even when they're not there. Well, that's really nice. So somebody's doing their homework.
Sounds like it. That's actually really nice.
Yeah.
They're trying to be a little more inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Excuse me.
So, Limax, do you want to read the note here from Dano of Team Pugach?
Certainly, I would love to. From Dano of Team Pugach, he says, I'm running a contest on Twitter for Father's Day. Simply post a photo of you geocaching with your dad or with your kids if you are a dad, and use the hashtag #CacheMyDad, and I will pick a random winner on Father's Day. Now, is that hashtag or Octothorpe, or is it hashtag Octothorpe?
I believe since we're in 2016, it's a hashtag.
It's had so many different names.
I know. So Dano's willing to give away a couple of geocoins just for using the hashtag #CacheMyDad on a picture posted on Twitter alone. So if you're out geocaching with kids or with your dad, post that on Twitter, and you got a chance to win something. So,
too bad I'm busy all day Sunday.
Oh boy. Well, Limax, how has your week been? I know you've gotten some geocaching in this week.
Yeah, I have. Let me see. I've actually found 2 or 3. I found at least. I know I found 2 this morning. I can't remember if I found any before that or not this week. You know, it's so sporadic. I'm actually pacing myself as much as I can. I've got 12 to go to 1,776, and I've got most of the month left. So it's just trying to pace myself. But this morning, there was a new puzzle posted by a friend of mine close by, McDurr. And it was a puzzle that was along the same veins of some I had just solved recently, and I found myself, I was the 7th one to solve the puzzle, and for some reason, the FTF hadn't been grabbed yet. So I thought, what the heck? Let's go out there. So I hiked there. We've got a reservoir down here called Del Val, or some other people say Del Valle, if they want to, but. Us Californians, we Americanize everything, especially Spanish words.
Exactly.
And so I actually went out after the first to find this morning, and when I left town, it's just right out of town from where I am. it was overcast here, so I thought, oh, good, it'll be nice and overcast. It won't be that hot. No, it wasn't overcast. So this was 8 o'clock in the morning. It was probably already. It was. I don't think it hit 70 yet, but it was between six. It was about 65 at least. And from where I started, which of course is not where he recommended, but it was this place that um, was the cheapest for me. Being a cheapskate. So it was about a mile and a half down to a mile and a half back.
Okay.
And around here, everything is desert and scrub oak, so not much cover. But I found that one, and actually I found another one that was just close by on the way back that actually filled in one of the squares I needed for my Jasmer challenge. So it was kind
Wow.
of a win-win for me.
Nice. You don't get that too often.
No, you don't. It was actually good. Oh, I know. I did actually find another one earlier this week. There was another puzzle. I'm kind of making June a puzzle month for me, and so I actually went out and found another puzzle. It's a skyscraper Sudoku.
Hmm.
Now, I said earlier I don't like Sudokus that well, but um, this one I liked because of the skyscraper part of it, which
Okay.
skyscraper puzzles I find a lot of fun. So, but that's what I did this week, and I talked a lot.
No, that's just fine. I'm knee deep in wedding prep. As father of the bride, I get to asking how much does that cost, and then they ask me to move heavy things. So that's all I've been doing this week,
Yeah.
paying for the heavy things that I end up having to move later.
Yeah. You've got another day coming up in your calendar here soon, don't you?
A find day? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's going to be the day before the wedding, and I believe the day after the wedding.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, it's fine. There's several new caches that have published within a few miles of me, so I've got to go out and get those.
There you go.
But another new cache that is published is the geocaching, or I'm sorry, the pot. I like geocaching. I just keep tossing that word in every time. I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to say geocaching. This one is the podcasting meet and greet in the lovely town of Mount Vernon.
Yay!
Yay! So we're only 2 weeks away.
No, we're 1 week away.
I'm sorry, 1 week away. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know what times are. I don't care.
Well, you better show up. It's your event.
Weekend I'm in Modesto.
My wife tells me where I go and what I should be doing right now. So after the wedding, I think I can be in control of my life once again. And if you're interested, the GC code is GC6 Juliet Zulu 2 Delta. See, I can learn. And it'll be at 1 o'clock at the front gallery in beautiful downtown Mount Vernon.
Yes.
So
We are so excited to have you come and visit our fine town. It's going to be a good time.
yeah, and yes, come to the meet and greet, but really you want to be there for the Mount Vernon Geocoin Challenge, for both the day portion and the night portion, and get two parts of that coin. It's going to be a lot of fun. We loved it last year. For some reason, I didn't go find. Is it Big Cache on Little Mountain? Little Cache, yeah.
Big Cat, Little Mountain, and I went and double checked on it. It's there's been a lot of ground clearing going on in that area, and I checked on it just for you guys this week, and it's still there, so it's waiting for you.
Great. It will help fill in one of the grids on a Fizzy Challenge. It's an older cache.
2001.
Yeah.
You mean Jasmer, not Busy?
Sorry, Jasmer. Geocaching. I just threw it out there. I didn't know what else to say. So yeah, it's one of the caches that I have on a watch list because it's an older cache and will help fill in one of those challenges that you meet with the finding the older caches. In fact, I want to do a show on that coming up, of what is the Fizzy, what is the Jasmer, what does it take to do it, and some other challenges in the area. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, and thank you, Brylang, for posting the GC of Big Cache at Little Mountain. That is GC1 Alpha Charlie 6.
That's a short number.
Yes, it is. 4-digit.
Yeah.
And it's a 1A. I mean, that's early on in the 4 digits.
Well, the one I found today was 3.
Wow. You don't see those too often.
Yeah, actually maybe it might have been 4, but it was June of '01 when it was
Okay.
released. So.
But tonight we want to talk about swag, and more specifically, what is good swag? So it's always appreciated that when you go to a geocache, you trade up with your swag. You know, you don't have to take or leave something that's brand new, but you know, try to leave caches better than when you got there. So, Limax, how would you define swag?
I would define swag as those items that you find in a cache that are not a travel bug or a trackable of some kind, whether it be plastic toys, those whatever the silly bands that we used to see, golf ball. Yeah, it's just it could be a variety of stuff. I know when I first started caching, I think this was probably back in '04. I actually put these little cars in there, and they came in a package that said what they were. And so I actually took a label maker and put on the bottom of what the car was, because they were, you know, the car itself didn't say. So,
Sure.
yeah.
So, you know, it's always good to. I hardly trade anything anymore. Let me start with that. Rarely do I ever take anything out. You know, I will usually paw through just to see the condition of the swag that's in there. If I have my backpack with me, I always have swag in that. So I'll try to leave something in there, even if I don't take it, just because I got to get rid of all the swag in my backpack one day or another. Some of the things that you should never put in a backpack, or maybe in a cache. This is going to be a long show.
Geocaching.
Geocache.
Throw it out there.
Things that are forbidden to put into a cache. First of all, food. Never put food into a cache. It attracts animals. And just on a side note, never use a container for a cache that once contained food, like a peanut butter jar. Even though you think it's clean and you can't smell it, animals still can. And they'll want to get in that, and your cache will go off to some den somewhere, and the animals will try to dig into it. It is forbidden to leave sharp, poisonous, or otherwise dangerous items in a cache. So, and caches should always be family friendly. So, Limax, have you found anything in a cache that you thought shouldn't be there?
I was just thinking about that. I did find a lighter one time in a cache, which I did remove. And actually, I remember searching for a cache one time, and I found a pot pipe, which was
in the cache or nearby the cache?
It was nearby. I mean, it
Yes.
was hidden under a bush. The cache was over here, and it was in a bush over here. So
I can tell you, just within a couple of months, I was searching for a cache on a rock wall, and I hate rock wall hides.
Mm-hmm.
But I found a crack pipe that somebody had put there. I was like, well, if you're going to hide it, that's a good spot, because who wants to look along a rock wall?
That's all they've got in Massachusetts.
So, I have found lighters. I want to say a pack of cigarettes one time in a cache. I took those and threw them away. I've heard stories of condoms, new ones, just to be clear.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, and other non-family friendly items. So, if you come across those in a container, go ahead and take them and dispose of them. There's no reason to say, well, I didn't put it in there. It's not my responsibility. It's not my cache. Take leadership. Get rid of that item, and leave the cache better than you found it. So.
Yeah, I was going to say I hardly ever trade items either myself. the cache this morning didn't have a first to find prize in it, which I wasn't expecting one. But there were some nice little toy trinkets in there for somebody to find them, but I didn't feel like trading for any of them.
Right.
My kids, even though they're teenagers now, when they go caching with me, they love to see what's in this one. What can we trade for?
Yeah. Breiling says the relevant guidelines, relevant guidelines, contents are family friendly, explosives, fireworks, ammunitions, lighters, knives, including pocket knives and multi-tools, drugs, alcohol, and any illicit material should not be placed in a cache.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you won't find some bad words in the cache every once in a while.
No.
On the cache log.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, what you should place in a cache, how many times have we mentioned family friendly? It should be family friendly. Most of the items in there are inexpensive. So when I say that, I say cheap. And most of them are plastic toys, items, stuff that you might have laying around your house, especially if you have younger kids. I find that the McDonald's toys, they tend to hold up the best. I've gone to a cache and seen it, has a stuffed animal or small fabric toy in it. And here in the Northwest, even the best sealed ammo cans still are damp inside. And those just are nasty.
They can be, yeah. Lock and locks are the worst, though.
Yeah. So, if what I leave behind tend to be, the hard plastic type toys, even something that's durable enough to run through a dishwasher if you want to take it home and clean it. Another interesting thing you can come across are some homemade items. Many people create their own swag from, wooden nickels or specially designed coins to painted rocks. So these things are inexpensive, but it gives you that signature item. People say, hey, I know who's been to this cache because they've left, this painted rock behind.
Yeah, I actually, when I was caching in Massachusetts a few years ago, there was somebody who stitched up pieces that were about business card size that had their caching name on them. And I actually did take one of them because it was such a cool piece of swag that, was something I wanted to keep as a memento on that particular trip back there. But that was, I know I've got some wooden nickels in my collection. From
You're never supposed to take a wooden nickel. Didn't you learn that?
No, I didn't. I live in the wrong part of the country. But it's I find the more unique pieces I think are just really, really cool. I actually one time I found a hockey puck in one back in Boston. Or not Boston, but it was out in Massachusetts. So I actually left one of my 05 geocoins in there as trade. Actually registered, attracted. It disappeared out of the cache like that.
Oh, bummer.
So it never went anywhere. But
some of the signature items, like here's one I've got of an orca whale. Let's see if it can focus on it. Laser cut plastic with engraved lettering on it. It's a wonderful item as a trade item, very unique, and yet durable enough and small enough that it will fit in a film canister.
They're just really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the good thing about those fabric business cards, if you want to call it that. You could roll them up tight and put them in a smaller cache.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned business cards. Business cards, personal cards are also a good option. It can show that you've been at that cache. Maybe even a photo, something. But I personally don't like those, again, because the cache tends to get wet, and that just is a whole layer of mush down there at the bottom.
Yes, but it might be holding all the other stuff together.
Oh yeah, padding.
Yeah, padding.
So use the glossy ones. They form a better glue when they get wet.
Yeah. Oh, that cache I found today, the second one, actually had a VHS tape in it. I left it in the cache, but
Wow.
that's only the second time I've come across a VHS tape in a cache.
Who asked it? Brylang. Brylang, I didn't get the Orca swag made. It came from cachers in Anaheim, California.
I think I've heard of that place.
Yeah. Love Orca loves caching. There you go. So I don't know where you could get laser cut plastic done, but it can't be hard to find.
Would like maybe Tap Plastics do something like that?
Could be. Yeah. Three Ham says a local cacher in Vancouver was leaving replica smartphones in ammo cans. Had the same look as the real deal. Must have been demo units. His log would read, I think I might have left my cell phone at the cache. My boys each found one. That's funny.
I like that.
It's very possible he worked at an electronics store or a phone store, because the demo units, are the exact shape and size of the phone, but they're hard plastic all the way through. No electronics whatsoever. So they're kind of fun.
Yeah.
But that's funny.
I like that. That's a really unique piece.
Yes, it is. And the log sells it.
Yes.
B Pendragon says you can build your own laser cutter / engraver. Well, maybe B Pendragon can. Not everybody can.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you could always, there are plans out there for CNC machines. There are plans out there for those. Yes, you could.
Well, and with the availability of 3D printers, you could print something very similar to this quickly and easily. So 3D printers, I think, will change swag. I think 3D printed coins are going to catch on.
I could see that. Yeah.
Of course,
you probably have to get a batch. Go ahead.
I was going to say, they're not going to be metal. They're going to be plastic.
Yeah. I was going to say, you almost could get a batch of trackable numbers from geocaching.com then, if you want to also make each one unique.
Exactly. One of the things...
go ahead. I was going to say, or have them all with the same number and just see who discovers them where.
It could be like a path tag.
Yeah.
They all have, each unique path tag design has a single number to it.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
Another thing, a good thing to leave behind is a CETO kit. Now, what I have film canisters stuffed with grocery bags, the plastic grocery bags. You can get that into a film canister, and then you can just toss it behind. And it's a nice environmentally friendly way to put swag in a cache. If you've come into the and found the cache and you've passed a lot of garbage, you can grab this and help pick up garbage on your way out. So,
yeah, I have found those in haven't found any in caches lately, but yeah, that's probably something I'm thinking I should probably do. I actually was thinking Head Hard Hat, he does first aid kits. And I was thinking, I asked my wife last time she went to the dollar store if she could pick me up a few. And unfortunately, they're a little bit bulkier than I can really take in my swag bag. But figure out something.
Let's see. I thought I had. Oh, Bryling says you'd have to pay Geocaching HQ for a set of tracking numbers. Each tracking number, I believe, is a minimum of $1.50.
Okay.
Just for the number in and of itself. And then if you want a special icon, if you want this or that,
I figured it was a monetized item. Yeah. I just didn't. Yeah.
Another good item to leave behind are batteries. Now, they're not like as used as much, at least in my caching experience, as they used to be. We've got a lot of cell phone cachers where, a AA battery is not going to help you. But, you've got AA batteries for flashlights, for GPSs, for all sorts of things. So, leaving some batteries behind here. Let me grab another example from back here.
While you're saying that, I'm thinking what almost you could leave behind are the emergency chargers for phones. The USB chargers. Make sure it's charged up. I mean, I don't know how long those stay charged, but
the one that I would consider, I believe, is a Duracell branded unit, but it runs off of 2 AA batteries.
Oh, perfect.
So you could leave the batteries in there separate along with the cell phone charger. This is something Daryl produced. It says GPS food. It's a series. It's just 2 batteries with his label that he created of GPS food. They're actually rechargeable batteries. And then he had them shrink wrapped. And, it's so darn cute. I just can't open it to use the batteries in it. So that was very well done way to leave a couple of batteries behind.
I'd say so.
Brylang says batteries and caches in the Northwest are not a good idea. If they get wet, then they leak and could destroy the cache with the leaking battery acids. That's exactly true.
That is true. Yeah, I've actually I had them leak inside of not my GPS, thankfully, but inside another charger I had and some other things. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had them leak, in flashlights because you leave a flashlight in a car for months before you need it the next time. I don't think they've leaked in a GPS, but of course all other sorts of battery-driven equipment, like a mouse on your desktop. By the time the batteries died, I've had them leak. So that's okay. Okay, no batteries in a cache. Sorry, guys. How about a pair of dry socks? There was actually a cache I found that you had to go over a log, as a bridge over a creek, and in the cache was a pair of dry socks. I thought somebody didn't make it here one time, did they?
No, I'd say not.
So, that was cute.
Yeah, were they still packaged?
I believe they were. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the only way I could figure that they hadn't been worn first.
Yeah.
So.
But even if they're dry and your socks aren't, I would consider it.
Yeah,
if it was a long hike back.
Yeah, I would too.
So yeah, I wouldn't suggest any other forms of undergarments, but just socks.
Yeah,
Limax, what's your feeling about leaving money, cash, in a cache?
It's mixed feelings about it. I mean, actually one of the caches I found recently, it was an LPC. Basically, the entire thing was full of coins. I didn't take any of them because I didn't need anything. I didn't need to make a phone call or needed a bus fare at that time. But
what do you mean you need coins for a phone call? What is this technology you're referring to? I've never seen anything like it.
I am definitely showing my age then. But I guess people do leave them behind if they want to trade for something. They just feel like they need to leave something behind. Now, there is a cache that I found. I can't remember where I was now. Oh yeah, I was up. I was up in the hills, and it was a coin cache. It was meant to have foreign coins in it, and they wanted you to take the coins because they were from all different countries. Mm-hmm. Now that's a wholly different idea than somebody say leaving a quarter in a film can or something like that.
Right. And foreign coins, I think, actually do make decent swag. Now I'm in the habit of every time I get a penny, I'm going to drop it where I know a child will find it. Mm-hmm. right? You know, I remember when my kids would go to the store and they found a penny on the floor and they thought they found treasure. I was like, you know what? It's a penny. Let's make a child's day. So
Yeah.
actually finding coinage in a cache really does make a child excited. You know,
True.
they found like it's a real treasure at that point. But if you're, you know, I don't know. It's a tough call.
Really is. And most of the time you do find pennies. That's usually what's being left. I did find a quarter. I actually found $1 in one time.
Mm-hmm. I found a geocache that was right behind a park bench where a homeless person was living. They weren't there at the time, but right behind them, hidden in a bush, was a film canister with a $5 bill folded up in an origami animal. I can't remember what it was. And I'm thinking, they don't know that there's $5 just 2 feet behind them. But, you know, so I've seen, you know, the dollar bills folded up as origami. And then you got the whole Where's George thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if many people know about this. It's kind of fallen out of practice, I want to say, for the most part. Sorry, Wet Coaster says, what are pennies? That doesn't exist up in Canada.
No,
that's the smallest denomination of coinage we have in the United States. They're far more expensive to produce than they're worth.
Just think if we had hay pennies, it'd probably even be more expensive to produce.
No, hay's cheap. You make a penny out of hay.
That's true. Yeah.
Just don't get it wet. It expands back into the entire bale. So, okay, is money for a first to find worthwhile?
I don't know. I know people have done that. You know, I've seen somewhere it's like $5 was left for the first to find or whatever. For me, if there was going to be a first to find prize or something like that, I'd rather it be something maybe not collectible, but something
unique,
significant that actually says, you know, first to find or whatever, whether, you know, laser cutted plaque, for instance, or whatever. But you know,
there are. I just thought of something. I have the laser cut plastic here, but there are many. I can't come up with the term now. You know, the community places where they have all the tools. Thank you, maker spaces.
Spaces, yeah, those. I couldn't come up with the second word.
The maker spaces, you can go and do, say, laser cut wood.
True.
That would make a nice item. And then you could, you know, do your first to find metal, what have you. I've seen first to find path tags, you know, that people have put into geocache. You know, take this as your first to find prize.
Well, that's neat. That would be kind of nice.
Bryling scored a Starbucks gift card once as a first to find prize.
Nice.
And, you know, on first to finds, you're either up late at night or early in the morning, so you may as well get coffee.
True.
Late at night, the Starbucks isn't open.
Well, we've got two 24-hour ones near us.
Okay. Wet Coaster says, how about a scratch and win lottery ticket for the first to find prize?
I have actually heard of that being done also.
How about just the winning ticket?
Yeah, the problem is, I think, well, who knows? I think if somebody actually scratched off the card ahead of time and found it was a winning ticket, they wouldn't have put it in the cache.
Exactly. But you know, that's I think is a fine thing, and especially if it's a first to find prize, so that it doesn't sit in there and get moldy or wet or broken down.
Maybe they need to make those out of laser cut plastic.
Yeah. Brylang says, gee, I wonder who we know who used a maker space to make laser cut wood medals. Okay, you caught me. That's a monkey thing. That's monkey business right there.
I figured it was monkey business.
Yeah. So that's your idea of swag. The idea is to trade up in value if you're going to trade. Don't necessarily throw 75 cents in there. But, if you're out with a child and the child really loves this, bracelet and that's all you've got, well, maybe that's not a bad thing. I'll look the other way on that one.
I think I would too.
There was one time my wife, we were out caching, and there was a ceramic bird. And my wife looked at that and goes, "That's really quite nice." So she was shocked by the quality of it in an ammo cannon in Idaho, of all places. But we didn't take it. But
yeah,
it. Well, here's James Stark. I apologize, James. I don't recognize your name as far as the caching name. He says 4 hours ago I got an FTF with a 1776 1976 dollar coin.
Oh man,
So,
I remember those.
The bicentennial dollar coins. I remember. I think I still have some of those.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Yeah.
I know. I actually have the dollars, the half dollars, and the quarters.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I was disappointed when I found out the dime didn't do it.
Maybe I don't have them up here. Oh, there they are. I have a friend of mine who gave my son right here all the state quarter sets.
Oh yes,
and they're stacked up right there. I never did make a shelf in his room where we could display them all.
I actually started collecting those, and then my daughter, who was a toddler, got into them, tore them all apart, and so I never knew what happened to them. So I quit collecting them.
So, but a coin like that, that's worthwhile. That's a collector coin. So, well, yeah, it probably is. It probably is. It's probably worth a little more than $1.
I would say it is. Yeah, I still come across the quarters every so often, and I don't like spending them. It's kind of like when I get Sacagawea dollars in the vending machines.
Exactly.
I can't bring myself to spend those either. Or the Susan B. Anthony's. I still get those too.
I'm going to tell on him because he's not here to defend himself. But every time Wits End goes to the bank, he asked if they have any $2 bills. And he'll often come away with about $20 in $2 bills.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll go out to lunch and he goes, "Here." And he hands me a $2 bill and thanks. And it's our tradition that every time the other person pays, we hand the $2 bill back and forth. But we've handed off a $2 bill to a clerk, and they'll look at it and go, "What is this?" This is legal tender in our country. and you look at them and they go, "What? It doesn't go in the ones. It doesn't go in the fives. Where am I supposed to put this?"
I think a couple of times I was working fast food, I was handed those, but they were a little more common back then.
Stark Casher. Or Star Casher. Star Casher or Stark Casher? Either way.
Star Casher.
I go Star Casher, yeah. But yeah. The last name is Stark, so it's a really nice play on your last name.
Well, if he had an R, it'd be Stark Archer, but it's not that.
No, Star Casher. But we've nearly run an hour. So we want to thank you guys. Make sure you put good swag in your geocaches that you find. Limax, where can people find you if they're looking for you on those interwebs that we look at each and every day?
Well, let's see. On Twitter, I'm at Limax7. I think, excuse me, on Facebook and Google+, I'm Doug Jones, which of course is going to be hard to find me. I'm definitely not the actor. I guess on Facebook, look for the picture of the rooster. On Google+, look for the shady sign.
There you go. If you're looking for me on Twitter, I'm CachingNW, Facebook.com/CachingNW, and Google+, I'm Google.com/plus CachingNW. But we need you to know, we also have a page on the website dedicated to the host of this very here podcast. So head on over to cachingnw.com/hosts to read our bios and find all the links that we're talking about. But until next time, we want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. You can be part of the show. Call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question. Send us your favorite summer drink recipe any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. And also, your support helps to keep the quality shows coming. If you like this show, please click on the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. The show's licensed under Creative Attributions 3.0 licensed, copyright 2016 by Chris Anthony. Good night, folks.
Thanks a lot.
And don't forget to stay for the after show. Wow, we talked an hour about swag.
Yeah, we did.
And now it's time
The after show.
for the after show. Let's see. B Pendragon, who, by the way, is a patron. Thank you very much. Says you can go to patreon.com/cachingnw.
I think, well, actually, I know how I found you. I actually searched for your name when I was looking for it.
Yes, you actually managed to become a patron before we announced it to anyone. I think within a couple of hours of posting it. I was like, how did
Yeah, and
how
I
did you do
actually, I'm trying to remember why I was out there. Oh, I actually just went out there on a whim. I thought to myself, he said he was going to get a Patreon web link up soon. I wonder if he's done it yet.
it's not difficult, but there's a lot of fields to fill out for Patreon.
I wouldn't surprise me. I think I'll just remain a contributor.
B Pendragon says he has a 3D printer on the desk next to him.
Well, why doesn't he just send it over here then?
Yeah. Can't you use the 3D printer to build yourself another 3D printer?
Works for me. Betty.
Okay, so it was a bad joke and the dog didn't appreciate it.
I don't know what she's barking at over there.
Wet Coaster says, never ask how much that costs. Never, never, never. Don't exactly know what that refers to, but we're going to say that's about swag.
I would say so.
Yeah. Bryleg says, Mr. Stark better watch out for the Lannisters.
Oh, that's a Game of Thrones reference. Even I get that, and I don't even watch it.
I didn't get it at all.
Yeah. I started listening to the first book, got so depressed, and decided this isn't for me.
So what I know about Game of Thrones is the season finale is coming up, and it's like 9 minutes longer than normal, and people are losing their minds.
Okay. Whatever. I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched a TV show.
Three Hams says, I remember when the $2 bill was phased out in Canada. My roommate at university kept one framed on his wall. And
I'm trying to...
says, we have no bills under $5 in Canada.
Yeah. I was gonna say, well, yeah, because they got the loony and the toonie.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, let's see, the last time I was in Canada, I was in Victoria in 1989, I believe it was. And I think, well, back then they still had the dollar bills. I think they even still had the $2 bills at that point. But I might be mistaken about that.
Three Ham says, is the front gallery, we're going back to the podcasting, so I use the word podcasting, meet and greet.
Yes.
Is the front gallery where the podcaster event is an eating establishment? I might grab lunch if it is. It is not. It is just a meeting space. I asked Tom, and I didn't get an email back that I saw today, but I've been too busy. Last year they offered cake, so there was at least something to eat. There are some wonderful restaurants right in Mount Vernon and the surrounding area. So there will be something there. But
Yeah.
no, there's not. It's not an eating establishment. There is a brew pub right next door, I want to say.
And if they can't make it there, they could just let them eat cake.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Star Casher says, you said my name right. Star Casher, spoken as Star Casher. But if I have to split it on a small log, I split it as Stark Asher. Asher. That's
Stark Asher. Or Stark Acre.
Acre, yeah. Iham says, I'm kind of bummed that multi-tools are verboten, but I understand that it's too close to a knife. And in fact, many of them have very nice, sharp knives in them.
Yeah.
So,
I have to make sure I take the multi-tool out of my pocket before heading to our local amusement park. Leave it in the car.
yeah. I walked into City Hall for something. And I had my Leatherman on my belt because I always have my Leatherman on my belt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I forgot I had it on there. And, I went through and was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. He goes, are you fixing something here? Why do you have this? I always have it. Can I just, leave it here? Yes. You can pick it up when you leave. Okay. I apologize. I forgot I had it on there because I'm so used to wearing it.
Right. Yeah. It's courthouses these days have airport-like metal detectors to go through also.
Yeah.
So.
Wet Coaster, who knows apparently U.S. geography well enough to say Tacoma is nowhere near Lake Superior.
Well, maybe there's a little part around Lake Superior called Tacoma.
Oh. I grew up around the Great Lakes. I don't remember a Tacoma.
Probably not.
You can get a taco, but it's not the same.
That's not quite the same, no. Taco, ma.
So there was a time at the Tacoma Mall when the M went out in Tacoma.
Oh.
And it was Taco, a mall. I should have taken pictures, but I didn't.
Oh, that just, wow.
That was so good. I was like, I don't know if I noticed the word taco right there in Tacoma. Taco, a mall.
Yes. It's almost like, Taco the movie or something like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Limex, thank you for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate that.
Oh, sure. I'm glad I could fill in at the last minute.
Yeah, Witsand had his call time moved up at the last minute, and Land Monkey couldn't make it. So I could have talked about swag all by myself. But it wouldn't have the same swag that you brought. And by the way, G-Slink says you really are classing up the joint.
That's some pretty good praise there, but yeah, I haven't talked to G-Slink in a while.
Well, he's going to be starting a new podcast soon called Geocache Talk.
Yeah, it's actually this coming Sunday. Yeah. He's doing that, and guess what? I got rehearsals on Sunday, so it doesn't even at 5 a.m. It doesn't work for. Excuse me, 5 p.m. It doesn't work for me.
What kind of rehearsals do you have? Okay.
No, 5 a.m. is the call time.
Yeah. Wet Coaster says you said something about the Tacoma Dome being superior. I knew exactly what he was referring to. Yes.
Yeah, we did know.
Yeah. The Tacoma Dome and the Superior Dome.
Yeah.
Why do you have to name it Superior? Breitling wants to know if there's a group lunch at Mount Vernon after meetup. We could try that.
Could just all kind of migrate.
Yeah, there were all sorts of little booths set up along the river walk there. So yeah, we can try to do something. But I don't think it'll be an official one. We can just get together and say, let's go eat a vegan burrito because, well, who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah,
no, I'm a second generation vegetarian.
Are you?
For all the things I eat, to be vegetarians.
You had me there.
Mhm.
I could actually, yeah. I don't think you saw it, but I am actually sitting right underneath an orange tree,
Oh, nice.
so I could actually just grab an orange.
Oh, IHAM says lunch as a group sounds good. Yeah, we should try that.
Yeah.
At least, if nothing else, we can all go out, get food, and sit down together. So,
Yeah. Well, and of course, a lot of events always take place at eating establishments.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
So yeah, I had mentioned there'll be cake. So if if worst case scenario, I have to bring a cake.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
we
you
can
just said there might be
free.
cake. You didn't really say there will be.
Oh, okay. If we eat cake before lunch, isn't that wrong?
Well, we used to do reverse, what we call regressive dinners.
Oh, there we
where
go.
you
I was
start
going
with
to
the
say we
cake.
could do a progressive lunch, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with dessert first. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and end it with appetizers.
okay. Nice. So yeah, when at the meet and greet, we'll figure something out for lunches nearby.
I'll be there in spirit.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hang up.
Okay.
Oh, Brian Lang says, I heard Die Monkey makes good cake. Oh, you have no idea. Die Monkey makes incredible cupcakes. I mean, these were almost too pretty to eat,
Oh, wow.
but we did eat them.
Yeah.
Will the cake be a lie? No, the cake will not be a lie. I will provide cake if nothing else.
I actually get that reference too. That's from Portal. Yeah. In Portal, there's a place that you can go into where it says the cake is a lie.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
I don't get it all.
Well, me being part of the video game generation and never growing out of it.
I never got into Portal.
Okay.
I don't know why. Red Alert is about where I stopped in the video game generation.
Okay.
And I see Doom is coming back. That's fine.
Yeah, it's back out. I was just at the GameStop recently, just talking to them about that a little bit. Not that, the most fun I had with Doom was creating levels.
Oh, I loved that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
anyway, I've got to scoot.
Okay.
Thanks again for joining us. Thank you all for listening. Remember to send in your glows, because we want to hear more than just the machine series. Send in your glows to feedback@cachingNW.com. And I don't know what else to say, so I'm throwing out geocaching.
Good night.